If you're struggling with building your confidence, in this podcast, I'm gonna give you the 4 C's to building ironclad confidence so that no matter what comes your way, you always have the faith that you can get it done. By far, one of the best qualities that you can have in this world is confidence. And the reason why is because confidence gives you the ability to go after things that typically you wouldn't go after. You know, when you find yourself having confidence, let's even say the confidence of the chair that you're sitting in, or the confidence of the road, or even the car that you're driving in. Because you have confidence, you're willing to take that chance by sitting in that chair, driving on that road, or even driving in that car. And it's because you believe that you will be fine. You have faith that no matter what you do, you'll be safe. That's the chance that a lot of us need to start taking when it comes to our dreams, our goals. You know, far too often we talk ourselves out of some of the most amazing things in life. This could be a new partner, this could be a new business opportunity, a new career, or even a new hobby, right? Even doing something like, let's say, picking up acting lessons or doing stand-up comedy, which are both 2 things I've thought about doing, because it helps to form a new sense of almost like interest, yes, but belief that I can do anything I set my mind to. It's the belief that if I were to try something new, even though my talent, even though my skill is at level 0 when it comes to this new interest, this new hobby, the belief that I can get it from a 0 to a 10 gives me so much confidence in the fields that I work in as a therapist, as an entrepreneur, because there's a lot of skills I'm gonna come across in these areas of my life where I don't have the skill. Where, let's say, at one point in time, me doing a podcast like this, I felt like my skill set was at a 1. Now I will say, man, I'm at like an 8 or a 9. And just knowing that I had this ability to grow, I can take that and translate it into so many different facets of life. You know, when it comes to confidence, guys, this is by far one of the biggest things that people are looking for. And the reason why is because there's this one emotion that is $1 billion, maybe even $1 trillion emotion, and it's fear. So many companies, let's even take something like insurance. Insurance, right, is a fear-based company, it's a fear-based business model where if by chance something happens to you, you want to have the peace of mind that you have the money to overcome this cost. So it could be the insurance of your car if you were to get into a wreck, the insurance of your house if it were to burn down, and even the insurance on your life, to be honest, knowing that if you pass, your loved ones will have the money and the finances to give you the funeral that you want, but also take care of their family expenses now that you're gone, right? $1 billion, I'm gonna say $1 trillion industry. Fear is a money-making business. And because that fear makes so much money, the exact opposite has the exact same effect as well, which is confidence. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the 4 C's to building confidence. And the reason why you want to stay to the end is because it's the last C that's going to help tie all the C's together. So I want you guys to stay because I'm going to give you something that's worthwhile. These are typically skills that I give a lot of my private therapy clients. And if you're subscribed to my newsletter, which you should go ahead and do right now, you will also see a lot of these tips that I give in my newsletter. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to point number 1, where we go over the first C. But before we do that, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So the first C is by far a game changer, and it's one that can't be overstated. It can't be overlooked. So when it comes to confidence, you simply have to know what you're doing in order to have the confidence to execute on the task at hand. We see this a lot when we're in school, right? So it's the confidence you have going into a test. It's the confidence you have when you submit your homework. It's knowing that I know the answers, and therefore these questions, even though they may seem hard, it doesn't have to strike fear in my heart because I know the answers. So this first C when it comes to building confidence is competence. Competence is the first C. And the reason why is because, believe it or not, believing in yourself is not the first step of having confidence. And actually, I'll say this, that's one of the last steps, because once you follow all these other steps, that's when the belief comes. But yet, right now, you're waiting to have the belief first to start going down these steps. And what I'm here to tell you is that you do not have to believe in yourself first in order to get started. One thing I've been telling a lot of my clients is that first step into being successful is not believing in yourself, but the first step to being successful is the first step. So think about it. If you were putting together a crib, something I did, a few months ago for my son, or even this desk that I'm sitting at, when I look at the instructions, I didn't have to believe in myself to get the crib done, to get the desk done, or anything like that. I just simply have to follow step number 1. So with this task that you're faced with, again, it can be something business related, career related, something in your personal life. Ask yourself, when I take away the need to have confidence, when I take away the need to believe in myself, what is truly the first step? Is it researching your audience? Is it redoing your resume? Is it getting to know yourself a little bit more so that you know what you're looking for when you're going out there trying to date someone? Like, what is truly step number 1? And this is where the competence comes in. Competence is just simply simply you knowing what to do. You know, there's a really great format that I give my clients, and I also give it to the people in my newsletter that subscribe to it, and it's called Bloom's Taxonomy. So when you look at Bloom's Taxonomy, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see a pyramid. And on this pyramid, on the lowest level of the pyramid, you'll see the lowest level of competence, which is just simply your ability to remember the facts. We see a lot of this in school. If you get an A on the test, there's a good chance you just remember the facts. You don't know why this thing is the right answer or why this happened to this group of people if you're studying history. You just know that the teacher said A plus B equals C. So when you get to the test, what do you put? You put C, right? You don't have to really understand the answer. But when you start to go up on that ladder, when you start to go up on that pyramid a little bit higher, you start to see that when you go from remembering the facts to understanding the facts, to applying the facts, to evaluating and then creating new facts, right? This is when you start to develop a deeper sense of knowing. And when you have a deeper sense of knowing, you also have a deeper sense of confidence. All right, point number 2. So the second C when it comes to competence is perfectly fitted right here. And the reason why is because once you know what to do, you have to apply it. But it's not enough to just apply what you know one time, but you have to apply it consistently. And this leads us to point number 2. The second C to building confidence is consistency. Guys, let's face it. When you first started to learn how to ride a bike, drive a car, even do a video like this, you started off being a novice. You started off not knowing what to do. But over the course of time, over the course of being consistent, you got just a little bit better each and every time you stepped up to the plate. And this is where consistency comes in. This is where confidence is built. Believe it or not, you can read books all you want. And yes, competence, as I said, it's a very crucial piece of the puzzle. But just like when I was building this desk, I had to go to a point where I went from reading the instructions to consistently working on this desk. And now this desk has become what it is now. And I have to say, putting together a desk, a crib, it is something that is a great metaphor for life, because here you are with all these pieces. You have this roadmap that a lot of your coaches, even myself, have given you, and right now you may not see it. It's like, yo, I had this box of all these little bits and pieces of screws and bolts and just random pieces of wood and metal, and you're trying to tell me that this is going to eventually become a desk? And the answer is yes, but right now you can't see it. And this is why I said you don't have to believe in yourself to get started. That's one of the worst pieces of advice that you can get. First step is truly the first step, and what you need to do is consistently work on that first step and get through all the steps so that you can complete the project. Because if you stop, it will never be done. And when you stop at something that's halfway done, you reinforce a negative thought in your mind, such as, I'm not good enough. And that thought is an absolute killer when it comes to your confidence. So be consistent with your work and consistently apply the competence or the knowledge that you just learned. All right, here's the third C, and you're not gonna like me for this one, but you made it this far, so I guess maybe you do like me a little bit to be still listening to this episode. So the third C to building confidence is to challenge yourself, right? So challenges. Now, why is this important? Well, believe it or not, guys, it's not until you try something that's hard, you really get a chance to test and see what you're truly made of. And as a therapist that work with clients that are in, just dire situations at times, it's when their backs are up against the wall, they're able to pull something out of the hat and be able to accomplish a big goal that they have. It can be something even financial, right? Like if they're struggling to make finances work, or let's say they have a big project due and now they're forced to stay up late. You know, that actually reminds me of a client who was working crazy hours, probably working maybe like 60 hours. And each week they had to put together a slide deck, and it took a lot from them. So much so they were basically pulling 12-hour days. And it's funny to see how they were able to reach into themselves, reach into that back, right? And be so resilient when their back was up against the wall. And now that their back isn't up against the wall anymore, it seems like a very tough thing for them to imagine themselves doing. But here's the thing, when your anxiety rises, right, your confidence and your performance rises with it. There's a really neat study. I want you to Google this. I'll even tell you to write it down, but it's called Yerkes and Dodson's Law. And to be honest, if you just type in Dodson's Law, you'll find it. And basically what it states is that as your anxiety increases, so does your performance. It's just that we don't want our anxiety to be so overwhelming that we kind of are like deer caught in headlights, if you will. So what you want to do is you want to challenge yourself just beyond your skill set. So me, I'm a therapist, right? And one thing you would not see me doing is performing open heart surgery, right? Yes, I'm in the medical field, but that's an entirely different field, right? Entirely different skill set, if you will. So if I were to try something like that, I would be very, very anxious. But if I were to, let's say, try being a couples therapist or a family therapist, or let's say there was a new population within careers or entrepreneurs that I wanted to work with, yeah, there will be some anxiety. but it wouldn't be so overwhelming that I wouldn't be able to do it. So again, challenge yourself just a little bit. And to do that, honestly, you have to have a good idea. You have to be real honest about what you're able to achieve. And that's another great thing about confidence. Another great way of building confidence is knowing what you're capable of and being okay with that, so long as you keep grinding, preparing, getting better to get to the next level. In other words, having a real life, an actual good scope of where you are with your talents. You don't want to think that you're this big hot shot fella and your skill set says otherwise, because that would lead to disappointment. So in this step, what I want you to do is to challenge yourself. So get an idea of where you are now, and guys, this doesn't have to be hard. Let's just take an example, like going to the gym. If right now when you go to the gym, you typically bench press 200, let's see if you can bench press 210. If you typically run for a mile, and let's say it takes you 5 minutes to run a mile, let's see if you can run that mile in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Challenge yourself just a little bit. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna just keep chipping away, just challenging yourself a little bit more each and every time. And you start to really see what you're capable of. So put your consistency and put your competence to the test by challenging yourself. And by doing that, you will build your confidence. All right, so here is the last C, the fourth and final one. And guys, thank you for making it this far. So when it comes to your confidence, again, this is the last one that pulls everything together. This is the glue that you really need to implement so that you can really build your confidence. And again, these are the 4 C's to building confidence. And in this last C, the best thing that you can do to build your confidence is completion. So often I see people start things and not finish them. And when you start something and you don't finish it, you build this belief within yourself that you're not capable. There's nothing better than putting together something like a desk or a crib, or putting together a webinar or a landing page or a funnel, whatever it is. There's nothing better than putting something together and seeing it come to life. Seeing a goal that you have become what we call realized, meaning that it comes from something that's in your mind to something that's tangible. When you're able to do that, it communicates something to your subconscious. It communicates something along the lines of, I can do hard things. And not only can I do hard things, but I can do hard things well. When that is communicated to your mind, you're gonna take the challenges that other people aren't taking, and you're gonna be consistent in areas that people are not consistent. And also you're gonna learn things, so you're gonna boost your competence, right? You're gonna have this willingness, and I will even say this thirst of knowledge that other people won't have, because they know deep down they're not going to take the knowledge and apply it. But you are someone that's different. And you listening to this podcast this far, it says that it's true. It says that you are someone that's consistent. It says that you are someone that's willing to be competent. And you're also someone that's going to be able to challenge themselves, because you're going to take the stuff that I taught you in this podcast and apply it. And also, by listening to this podcast to the end, you're definitely showing that you're a completer. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that when you follow these 4 C's, so again, consistency, competence, challenge yourself, and completion, when you follow these 4 C's, you have no choice but to build ironclad confidence. And if you're ever falling in your confidence in any area of life, one of these C's are missing, and I want you to go to attack it. So this is Coach Wells. Thank you for checking out this podcast. Make sure you be a completer by hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you later.